Welcome to the MTAP Analytics examples. In this lesson, we look at a very complex evaluee. This is a 34-year-old female with a lumbar injury, a knee injury, and a dominant hand injury. We will use data from the Examples tab to populate the Answer Sheet tab and take a look at three different types of clinical correlation. To get started, launch the MTAP Analytics macro-enabled Excel workbook. When the security warning appears, click Options, enable the content, and click OK. This will take you to the Start Here screen. On this screen, click the category 30 to 39 female. This will automatically take you to the answer sheet. Rather than enter data one by one, we're going to copy data from the Examples tab and paste it into this answer sheet. So go to the Examples tab now and select the Example A data. Begin with item 1 and go down through item 50. Copy, and then go over to the answer sheet and paste. Once the data have been pasted into the answer sheet, click Ctrl B to analyze the data. This will take you immediately to the Clinical Correlation tab. The Clinical Correlation tab compares the evaluee's responses to expected responses. This comparison is based on global musculoskeletal demand, compared with about 6,000 subjects in the normative database. The basic idea is that given a particular total score, there should be a pattern of expected responses. The clinical correlation graph shows us the variance from expected, up or down, high or low. This is expressed as a residual score for each item. The residual scores range from about -4 to +4. In clinical practice, residual scores typically range between -2 and +2 for a simple case. The individual item residual scores are reflected in two summary scores, the outfit score and the infit score. The outfit score summarizes the residual scores for items at the extremes. The infit score summarizes the residual scores for items near the evaluee's ability level. After this lesson is over, I'd like you to get a better feel for these summary scores by going back and forth between the Answer tab and the Clinical Correlation tab, changing items on the Answer Sheet tab, and watching what that does to the outfit score and infit score. But for now, let's take a look at how increasing the complexity of the case changes the residual scores. Look at item 31. The residual score is slightly over 1.0. Now let's add a knee injury to the lumbar injury and see that item 31's residual is up about 2.0. What's happening here? Well, remember that we're dealing with residual from expected. These data demonstrate that in the real world, as impairments become more complex, the variability of the functional limitations naturally increases. And this points to the need for clinical correlation. The evaluator looks at the items that have the greatest residual. The question is, given the evaluee's set of impairments, does that individual response make sense? And so, what I'd like you to do now is make these comparisons. Copy and paste any of the three data sets from the Example tab into the answer sheet. Then navigate from the Clinical Correlation tab to the Answer Sheet tab and ask yourself whether the individual response makes sense. Whenever it does not, this needs to be resolved. Begin by questioning the evaluee and proceed to formal testing if necessary. This concludes the training session on using the MTAP Analytics examples. Contact us at epicrehab.com for additional training. Thank you for your attention and interest. Hello and welcome to Using MTAP Analytics, a training program to help you use the Excel workbook titled MTAP Analytics to analyze data from the MTAP paper and pencil test. I hope you enjoyed the training session. When you launch the MTAP Analytics software, you're going to begin on the Start Here tab. This is the screen that you will see. Let me draw your attention to the bottom of the screen. Those tabs are worth exploring. Why don't you pause the video for a moment and go ahead and explore those tabs and come back to me after you've finished exploring. Welcome back. I now want to draw your attention to the navigation arrows in the lower left-hand corner of the screen. Use these arrows to navigate to tabs that may have scrolled left or right off the screen. The purpose of the Start Here tab is to allow you to select the proper age and gender category for your evaluee. When you do so, it will take you automatically to the answer sheet. Go ahead and do that now. Select the 30 to 39 female category. This automatically takes you to the answer sheet. And obviously this is where you enter your evaluee's data. The data will range from able equal 1 to unable equal 5. If the evaluee has entered don't know for an item, that value is 6. Blank responses on the questionnaire are left blank on the answer sheet. The analytics software will assign a weight to each score. A score of 1 indicating able will have a weighted value of 4. A score of 2 indicating slightly restricted will have a weighted value of 3, and so forth. Assigning the weighted values will occur in the background once the analysis is undertaken. Rather than enter the data one by one, we're going to use data from the Examples tab for the rest of this lesson. Go to the Examples tab now. For training purposes, this is a 34-year-old female with a lumbar injury, knee injury, and dominant hand injury. Although most clients will not be this complex, we want to use this as an example to demonstrate the power of MTAP. Our example today is just going to take a look at the effects of her lumbar injury on her functional limitations. Use your mouse now to select the score for the first item under Example A down to the score for the 50th item. Once the 50 scores are selected, right-click and copy. After you copy, click on the Answer Sheet tab. Select the cell for item number 1, right-click and paste. All 50 of the cells will now be populated with the data. In order to analyze the data, click Ctrl-B. Do that now. Normally, as you analyze your client's data, you're going to navigate between the Clinical Correlation tab and the Answer Sheet tab. There's an awful lot to look at in this tab. We'll get back to this in a future lesson and explore it in detail. For the present, however, let's explore some of the other tabs. Go ahead and click on the Summary tab. On the left of this tab, we find the percentile ranking data, female and male separately, across the 5 different age categories. We find that a score of 64 on MTAP results in an ability rating of -102 and a percentile ranking of 24. Notice that the same total score gives a different ability rating and percentile ranking depending upon each age and gender category. The ability rating ranges from approximately -7 to +7 depending on the age and gender category. For all of the categories, an ability rating of 0 is the median. We next notice that Jane has a possible score of 200, which means that she answered all 50 items in MTAP. There are 4 points possible for every item. If the possible score was 196, that would mean that she answered 49 items. If her possible score were 192, that would mean that she answered 48 items, and so forth. The next scores that we will look at are infit and outfit. These range from approximately a -4 to a +4, and they have to do with how much variance from the expected score we've got across our set of 50 items. In a future lesson, we will explore these in greater detail. If we had a perfectly consistent set of responses, the infit score and outfit score would be 0. However, in practice, because we're dealing with human beings, the lowest infit or outfit score that we can normally expect is 0.5. As a general rule of thumb, a score of 1.5 or lower indicates acceptable consistency. Scores of 1.5 or higher indicate the need to consider clinical correlation. I will show you how to do this in a future lesson. The next set of data on the Summary tab has to do with physical work capacity, presented in terms of 4 different scores. These scores have to do with percent of possible. Perfect ability would give you 100% across all 4 scores. The next set of scores has to do with 4 different levels of activities of daily living. As with the set of physical work capacity scores, these scores have to do with percent of possible. Perfect ability would indicate 100% across all 4 categories. The data for work capacity and abilities are presented in separate graphs. Click on those tabs now and take a look. Now let's take a look at the Demographics tab. This is where we enter basic information about the evaluee in preparation for printing out a report. Finally, we come to the Report tab. All of the evaluee's pertinent data are summarized here. You can either print this out to put in the client's paper record, save as for a PDF for the electronic record, or do a save as for an Excel file. That's a quick introduction to using MTAP Analytics. Go to epicrehab.com for additional lessons on how to look at clinical correlation, which unlocks the power of MTAP. Thank you very much.